8 strikes and you're out, Paul Thurrott.
I was just telling my wife about this for reasons that will not be obvious at first, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I've been writing about some of the behind the scenes stuff at Thurrott.com, since I
Sure.
took over
Yep.
the
Yep.
site,
Yep.
and I hope people find it interesting. I don't think people think about it from kind of our end or whatever, but I think a lot about bad actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, you can tell when people comment about something like where their head's at. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, okay, we're just asking questions here, it's fine. And sometimes it's like, I'm a bad actor and I just want to, you sort of reveal
Mm-hmm.
yourself in your comment, right? So let me think of one that won't, I'm not trying to go after anybody individual, but well, actually, here's something you'll appreciate. There's bad actors. There's people who want to beat the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just want to get online and be bad. And then there are people like me who get online and are bad in a certain way, but it's within the rules of the game. So, for example, when I'm playing Call of Duty and I play hardcore, you can shoot your own teammates and kill them. And it's one of the things that makes it harder, right? However, if you're in a bad mood or don't like someone on your team, you could not abuse, you could use the system to the point where I think you shoot someone and kill them, and you do it like a second time, and you're fine. And then the third time, you're like kicked out of the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's within the confines of the game. So if there's some idiot on your team who's doing something stupid, you could waste or use the 2 lives you have to send them a message, right? And you could argue that this is unhealthy behavior, which it is, but it's also within the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have this strike system, right? Which, whatever the details are, after a certain number of strikes in a year, like or worth it. Actually, I don't think there is a time frame. They could boot you off Xbox for a year, right? And your reaction to that, being the way I am in Call of Duty, I think to myself, there are going to be bad actors who are like, okay, I have a certain number of strikes. I want to use these judiciously. I'm going to work within the system. So I'm going to be a racist, or I'm going to say sexist comments, or I'm going to do whatever the bad behavior is. I'm going to do those things 9 times or whatever the number is, um, and that's okay, I guess. I feel like the system might need to be tweaked.
Well, there's some minute details that are worth digging into
Yeah.
because
So why don't you do that? Because I was driving when this was announced, and Laurent wrote
yeah.
about it. So what are the details?
So you can get up to 8 after your 8th strike. You can be banned for a year.
For a
However,
year.
Microsoft reserves the right to just ban you outright whenever they want. If you're like,
Yeah, if you're being egregiously bad.
yeah,
Sure.
or if you're doing something illegal, whatever. So this is all within the confines of like, hey, if you screw up real bad, they'll just kick you off
This
permanently.
is community guidelines, is all
Yeah.
this is. Like,
However,
yeah.
with your first strike, you get a day ban. Like the
Okay.
day bans start immediately. Where it's kind of could be abused is when you get a second strike, it's still just a day ban. So you could, if you're like, you got one, it's like,
Well,
whatever.
you're like, I'm not going to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's
But
okay.
When you get 3, then it's 3 days, 4, then it's 7 days. And then how it works is it's on a rolling basis. So
Right.
after 6 months, they begin to
it kinda
drop
resets.
off. And that's
Yeah.
where you could really start to kind of,
Yes. So that was okay. I didn't have the exact details, but my vague understanding was that, you as a bad person could look at this and say, okay, here's what I can do within the confines of this. But you still may be caught up in some system where they're like, look, you're in here being a jerk on purpose. This is the equivalent of going into the comments of an article and not being on topic and just grousing about something. And it's like, dude, you're just here to be malicious. Like, what do this has nothing to do with what we're here for. Yeah, I can't think. I don't want to use any examples I can think of because I'm not. I don't mean to go after individuals, but you can just sort of see in the way that people. I will be writing about this soon, though.
yeah, people will find a way to abuse it. That's
But you
given.
can also just tell in your reaction to something like where your head's at, I guess. So, for example, like you confronted with these details that you just provided, or this story about whatever Xbox strikes. I think most people would be like, yeah, there's a lot of toxicity online. This is, I don't know the details, but this kind of thing is needed. So it's good they're finally doing something because, by the way, it's been forever. But then the bad actor would be like, oof, oh, man, you telling me they could take away the things that I own? Like I bought games and stuff and I can't use them. And it's like, dude, how did you go right there? Like, you're already like, I'm absolutely going to abuse this. What I'm concerned about is that I might be punished for my bad behavior. And it's like, yeah, I like that's right. I mean, yeah. That's
the
point
inverse of that argument, which I understand as well, is you get caught up and you accidentally get banned. That is like
yes. What's
the bigger
recourse?
scary thing.
Yep, this is the scariest thing about any online account.
Mm-hmm.
All my important work data is up in OneDrive.
Yeah.
All my photos are in Google. I mean, arbitrarily, those guys could be like, we don't like something you're doing, whatever. I'm not that like I'm doing anything, I think, but it could be a mistake. It doesn't matter. That's the point. And it's very, very hard. There are many horror stories about people
especially
never getting
Google
their
Photos.
accounts back.
I mean, I'm like scared to say this even out loud. Like, you take a picture of your own kid who's in the bath. Like, every parent has photos like this of their kid in the bath, and Google identified it as child porn and banned some parents' accounts, and like everything's gone.
One of the things I'm doing and writing about right now is literally going through all of the unsorted photo scans I had made over the years, but not put in the right places and put the right metadata on. And I didn't actually think this when I saw this, but you just said this, and now I am thinking it. One of those photos was a picture of me and my sister and my mother in the tub. My mother was wearing a bathing suit. My sister and I were wearing nothing, but you couldn't see anything. I mean, but whatever. But it was still two naked children.
Yep.
And so this would have been from like 1973 or something, like a million years ago. And I just put the right metadata on it. So I had the date right. I filed it away in Google Photos and OneDrive in the correct place, in OneDrive's case. And yeah, I guess I'm just a ticking time bomb here, you know? And that stuff's, I know God, this is horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
Although you do one thing that I do as well. For anybody who uses Google Photos or OneDrive, you should use both realistically, because OneDrive, if you're already paying for it, you just go in there and you just turn on, just back up my camera roll, which is where most of my photos come from these days.
Just do that. Exactly. Do it in at least two places. You could use, I think Amazon probably still supports this. I know their sort of Drive service is going away, but I think they still do photos. Google
Photos and OneDrive is how mine,
me too.
They go off two different directions, and then they're still on my phone, I guess. But
I also, long been using a NAS, and the NAS is a little tough. It's not, because of the age of smartphones, it's not perfect. But when, like say I'm using a Google Pixel 7 or whatever, Google Pixel 8 comes out and I'm going to upgrade. I manually copy all of the files off of this. These things have been saved up to the cloud already. And I take that and I call it, Paul's phone, whatever it was, with the date, and I file it up in the NAS. So it's not, it's 100%. It's not, if the phone got stolen tomorrow, I would not have that thing to copy over to it, right? But that is something I do. And I don't know. This stuff's important, right? I mean, these are your photos. Like, you don't want to get locked out of that.
Yep. So anyways, Xbox, that strike stuff I think is live now. Everybody starts over from a clean slate. So if you had any, whatever.
Listen, I do, it's just like traveling. I do everything I can to minimize the stupidity, right? When it comes to video gaming. And I've not been on the Xbox, in months now, but over years and years, I mute everybody. Now I don't play games with other people like you do. I'd have to unmute people I know in that case, but I mute everybody. And every once in a while, I don't know what happens. Sometimes, I don't know if every once in a while, I'll be privy to what's being said in a game. And it's like instantly, oh yeah, this is why I mute everybody. And it's everything from annoying, like someone singing to himself in his microphone, to you can hear the background, like a TV's playing or something, you can hear it, or he's talking to someone else who's not in the game, or he's just shit talking people, to full-blown racism, sexism, whatever you want to, anything toxic you can imagine. And it literally takes like 60 seconds where I'm like, oh God, yeah, this is why I do this.
The other thing you can do, which is how I actually play, is you just start a little chat room. So you can start a party, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so then only people on my friends list can see that party.
Right. Yep.
And then they can jump in and out. But otherwise, I never hear anybody because I don't really care to.
Yeah. So I don't play games with human beings like you do because I don't have friends. But if I did, I would do the same. But
yeah. The only thing I do miss, though, and this doesn't get enough credit, should get a Nobel Prize. The only thing that's missing, and I don't know if other games do it or not, but in Call of Duty, every once in a while I will not be in the party chat, because when you kill somebody on the other team, it for like 3 seconds it opens their mic, and so you could hear him just, like little comms of
which right, which is, you sort of want to hear that, don't you?
Yeah, it's fun.
You really, right? I mean, I don't know, selective. Maybe this will be an AI thing. Like, hear the reaction from the person you just murdered online might be desirable. That's a pretty good use of AI. It's like a reverse noise cancellation thing, for this one moment.
I will never know who this person is. I will never meet them. I guarantee do not remember it. But in my brain, when that feature started to come on, for whatever reason, I ran around for like a week only with just an RPG, and I have emblazoned in my brain the voice comms of RPG. Really? It was great.
Oh, man. Yep.
So, anyways, first day of school today. Kid went off to school.
Boy. So early for me.
It's great.
This is like, 3 weeks before would be the case in Boston. It's always the Wednesday after Labor Day.
Yeah, that's how I think Michigan is. As a lot of places further north are like that, it seems.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure I don't know. It's just the system I grew up with. My kids went that through it, and it just was my normal thing. Yep. So it's normal for me. But yeah, well, that's exciting, I guess. Enjoy her Chromebook and whatnot.
You had to go.
What kind of Chromebook is she getting? Do you know that?
She won't ever bring it home, so I'm not sure. But the thing is they're sending instructions, Paul, throughout for how she can log into her Google Workspace from her home computer, or I think iPad.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. I mean, she has a Gen 1 Surface laptop, which is perfect for what she needs. It's on Windows 10, and it'll stay that way.
Right.
It's also actually on its own.
Gen 1. What's the processor? It must be 7th? 8th?
I don't know, but her laptop is on the same network I put all the IoT devices on, because I'm assuming that she's going to download something horrific.
Right. Let it take a long time.
It's air-gapped, at least.
Okay, I see. Oh, nice. All right.
I don't know what she's going to download. Like, I try to lock it down as much as you can, but kids are crafty. And she's like, oh, everything. Look, Harry Potter. They want to download a Harry Potter app. She would click that in a second and run whatever set of malware it is.
Yeah, I run into this. I've been doing a lot of retro tech articles, and you get like an emulator for like an old system, and you want to download like ROMs from cartridges and stuff, which is dubious legally just to begin with. I'll just be upfront about that. But I downloaded a bunch last week for like an Atari 800 or something, and I looked at them, and they were all like, it was not a ROM file. Each one of them had the exact same executable inside. It was like, install this, and I'm like, yeah, no. Like, what are you talking about? It was just, and that's, and I mean, I'm an adult who knows what I'm doing, and I'm doing something stupid, to be frank. But kids are just, you have no idea what's going on. Unfortunately, this is how they find out. So have fun with that.